Hello, Mark Webber.
Oh, wauw.
Hey.
Without
Mark.
any introduction. Maar dames en heren, want wij hebben gewoon de winnaar van de Grand Prix van Brazilië 2009 aan de lijn. En dat is Mark Webber. Mark, welcome in our show. You probably know most of the guys around here. There's Robert Doornbos, never heard of.
No.
Peter van der Garde, never heard of. And Tom Coronel, never heard of. That's what I have to deal with here.
No, mate. No, you need a medal. You need a medal.
Yeah, it's hell. It's trouble all the time. But tell me, have you seen the footage of the Grand Prix? Have you ever seen it back? Because it was chaos.
Actually, not. Well, I mean, yeah, a while ago, yes, but not in the last few years, of course. So, yeah, wasn't the most exciting race. I think I just saw some of the highlights you showed of the first lap, which was pretty fiery. But yeah, it was crucial that I got Kimi didn't pass me because the curves on the Ferrari were pretty dangerous for us to handle, but the fire in the pit lane, all the rest of it. But yeah, it was a nice victory. It was a nice way to finish the year.
Yeah, you don't rank it amongst your best Grand Prix victories, I suppose.
Probably not. I mean, any victory in Formula One is beautiful to have, of course, so you can't be too fussy. But the flight home was probably the biggest celebration, actually, which didn't really make sense. I had some good wins in Monaco and we had some good parties, but the flight home with David Coulthard on the plane, we got into a lot of trouble after that victory.
But it doesn't matter where you fly with David Coulthard, there's always a party.
Yeah, we got kicked out of first class, back into business class, and then it was a long flight for the British Airways crew.
And were you allowed in the Mile High Club then that evening?
Well, that was trying to start even before we took off, So,
Oh, nice. In the lounge.
Yeah. But the most amazing thing was I had no idea. It was a long flight. We had a great time, and my wife met me at the airport, and I just jumped straight in the driver's seat, and I said, what the hell am I doing in the driver's seat? There's absolutely no chance I should be driving the bloody car home. So she jumped in and drove me home, which she never drives. I always drive. But in that case, she certainly needed to drive. And that was obviously 15 or 16 hours after the Grand Prix across the line. So we had a good time.
Good boy.
And
Good
then
boy.
we wonder what you do these days, because are you commentating somewhere? We really don't know.
Doing a little bit with Channel 4. Lots of red wine and lots of sex.
Nice.
Good life.
But and never any racing anymore? Don't you miss it?
Look, yeah, seriously. I mean, yes, of course, I do. I think that, Formula One was tremendous. I worked with great people. I was lucky to work with some of the best in the business.
Thank you.
I raced against some tough guys that certainly took me to a new level. And then with Porsche as well, I had a great fun at Le Mans with them, and the championship that we won there as well, the Sports Car Championship, and the victories at Le Mans with the team. So, look, mate, I've been very fortunate to work with good people. I'm still with Porsche now. I have a great relationship with Red Bull, and I do some TV work, as I say, for Channel 4. I still work down in Australia, doing work down there with the network. But before the virus, I was still doing sort of 60 or 70 flights a year, but I think those days are over now, and I'm quite enjoying no travel for a while.
And you also manage some drivers as well, right?
Yeah, that's right, mate. You've got Mitch Evans
Yeah.
and Oscar Piastri, who's doing Formula 3 this year. So Mitch is doing...
And Doohan?
No, not Jack. No.
Not yet.
Jack is Red Bull, but I know Jack and Mick very well, obviously, for a long time. I've known Jack since he was a baby. But, actually, I saw Mick, both of them the other night. So, it's nice to... you can help, honestly, but it's, they've got to find a way as well. Ultimately, it's part of the test. They've got to really, really want it. They've got to be hungry. They've got to have the desire and focus. And, you can help them, but ultimately it's on their watch. They've got to make it work.
Wait, well, Mark, you said you're still involved with Red Bull, obviously. You follow the Max Verstappen story with Red Bull. There's only one target, one goal, championship. You worked with Christian Horner. Do you think he's up for the challenge to have the team ready this year to fight for the title?
Yeah, I think that, it's really between him and Lewis. I don't see anyone else at the party, to be honest. I don't see Ferrari arriving this year. I don't see anyone else that can take it to Lewis. So it has to be Max. Milton Keynes, I'm confident in. I'm confident in the aerodynamics. I'm confident in all of the strategy and operationally they're superb. It's just really whether Honda can still take it to Mercedes over the course of what we have now a very condensed season. But you know, we know that operationally Mercedes-Benz are very good with their engines. They work everywhere. They got still probably, you know, a sniff more power. When you can run more power, you can run more downforce, you know, so life just gets a little bit easier. But let's see, like Max he's been great for the sport. We all missed the bloody Dutch Grand Prix this year. We wanted to go to your race, but that's the pain that didn't happen. But, yeah, so that's where Tom kicked my ass, actually. Tom kicked my ass in Zandvoort one day.
Sorry,
So,
boy.
yeah.
I
Yeah,
remembered you were giving me a hard time.
That was the Masters.
It was the Marlboro Masters '97. You were hunting my ass big time, and you were burning your tires, and I was happy with that one.
There you go.
Here's the picture. You're the disappointed one in the yellow overalls.
Yeah,
but he was challenging. I remember you took the white suspension from Dallara that day.
Yep,
It was
that's
specially
right.
flown in for you, and everybody
Yep.
was jealous you had it. My opinion,
Yes.
you were the fastest, but sorry.
No, mate. No, we great times, mate. I loved that. Was such a great event. So yeah, we're looking forward to Max competing in front of his home people. This is what we need. We need drivers and countries getting behind their sports people, and that's what you guys have done so
And
well.
what about Vettel, your mate Vettel? What do you think he will end
I
up
think a
in
year off,
retirement?
mate. I think a year off. I mean, he can relax with his decision now because I don't see him being on the grid next year. So then he has a bit of time to work out what he does for 22.
Red wine
see
and
what's
sex.
available. Yeah, come back.
Mark, what do you think? These days is a lot of talk in the news that, like Haas says, we're not going to do any upgrades this year. Racing Point says we have aerodynamic problems for the next year's car, so we're going to concentrate on that. What would you suggest Mercedes and Red Bull will do? Will they throw all their money on this year's upgrades, or will they spend something on next year?
I mean, of course, they're going to be very, very well organised how to distribute the R&D and work out where the revenues are to say, okay, how can we really front load the finances into this part of the equation now before the budget caps are starting to be accelerated in. But still, look, we know the big teams have still great resources. Also, they have great culture. You cannot put a budget cap on culture and people wanting to work and be hungry and the desire to win. And that's, you know, money is one thing. We see it with football clubs, we see it with businesses or whatever. You can have very good budgets, but if you don't have the energy and the passion inside the company, then that's a problem.
So is that also the problem with Williams and maybe McLaren? They don't have the culture right now to make a top car?
Well, certainly Williams needs to get the marriage alive again with all parts of all facets of their business. I mean, the Williams advanced engineering side is doing well. That's going great. But I think McLaren is a different scenario actually to Williams. McLaren, I think they stand very well positioned to do well out of this budget cap. Independent team. They have a good engine going forward. I think McLaren, you know, give them 2 years. I mean, they have to be closer to the front of the grid. I cannot see how they cannot be further back.
But like the culture, you said the winning culture. When we were in Barcelona at the final test, I think you were there as well in February. What was your response when you saw the Mercedes introduction of the DAS system? I mean, that team has been winning for 6 years. To have that winning mentality, to always look for the edge. What did you think for the first time you saw it?
Awesome. I mean, that's exactly what Formula One has always been about. From the 60s, 70s, whatever, Colin Chapman, you know, Gordon Murray, Adrian Newey, all these guys, they had so many amazing ideas and they're still doing it now. You know, Mercedes have not just they've got, you know, obviously they've had a tremendous engine for a long time, and that's probably the horsepower stakes has never been closer, but they still find a way to generate, you know, very, very good downforce. And I think also because Pirelli is such an average tyre, it's actually a very average racing tyre, so teams have had to find ways to find new innovations to make it easier to handle the tyres. And this is around the tyre challenge, and that's why this invention would never happen with a normal flat-out racing tyre, but because the Pirelli is so sensitive, you've got to find ways to help the tyre.
You think they should reintroduce refueling the cars like in Brazil?
Well, I mean, it's certainly added a little bit more of a sort of a chess match and a bit more of a mystery for the fans at home to work out how they would work on strategy. I liked it when the races were underway. I didn't like qualifying with fuel. I thought that was a bit weird off the grid, going with a sort of I mean, obviously you just showed a race which I won going longer than Rubens, and it was like a slow kill, if you like. It's not really done too much on track. You know you've got the fuel, so then you're waiting for the stops, and so that side of it is there's much more racing happening in the pit lane with the strategy than on track. So you've got to be careful with that as well. So you get a bit more novel components for the fans, but most of the moves are done in the pit lane, which is not very good either.
Now, you've been very frank about Tom Coronel, that he kicked your ass in Zandvoort. But Robert Dornbos here is telling me all the time, oh, and I tested for that Red Bull seat with Mark Webber, and we were so close. But he never tells me who was actually the fastest of you.
No, he was quicker, always quicker than me, mate. So I had
How much did he pay you?
This is commercial, 100% sure.
Yeah. Hey, look, this is the Dutch show, guys. Come on, all you guys are the heroes. I'm just an Australian from down under,
You're the second Aussie in the show. We had Daniel Ricciardo the other day, so great to have you here, Mark. Thanks.
Yeah. Thanks, man. Have a good time.
Have a good
See you.
weekend.
Bye-bye.
Good one.
Bye.
Enjoy the Heineken. Ciao.
Yeah, thanks.
Cheers.
Volop live topsport? Ga naar Ziggo Sport op kanaal 14. Gratis voor Ziggo klanten.